All right. I'm Forrest, and I am about to run up to the movies and see Sabotage. I just got out of Noah. My review of that is circling around somewhere, I'm sure. And the previews from for Sabotage have already started, so I'm just gonna make this a really short intro. So I don't know a whole lot about this movie, I have to admit. It seems to be like an FBI or CIA or something like that movie, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm very happy to see him back in the movies like this. I feel like he took a hiatus for a while, but he's coming back pretty strong now. And I don't know how it's going to be. I haven't read any reviews for it. I've only seen a couple trailers for it. And it could go either way. I'm really excited about this because I have no idea what to expect. It could go either way. It looks like from what I understand, there's a traitor in his CIA, FBI team and they're trying to find this drug lord or something. Again, I don't know much about it. And it's been a while since I've even seen a trailer for it. But they're trying to track down someone who betrayed them, and it's inside his group, and it's like a core group of them, and someone's going to get killed. I don't know, and I could see this, as I said, I could see this going either way. I could see this being really good, or it could be pretty bad. And knowing Schwarzenegger, who knows? I've liked some of Schwarzenegger's stuff in the past, particularly Terminator was excellent. Predator was really good. I haven't liked some of his stuff in the past, like Commando. Wasn't a big Commando fan. So we'll see which end of the spectrum this goes on. From what I've seen in the trailers, it looks like he gives a strong performance. It looks like the side characters and the side actors are giving strong performances. But we'll see. I'll see you after the movie. Okie dokie. I would really like it if this light would stay on. Apparently my car doesn't like me very much. Sorry if this gets too dark. There's not really a whole lot of lighting options in this vehicle, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, I just saw... Nope, that didn't work either. I just saw Sabotage with Arnold Schwarzenegger and a bunch of other people in this, as it turns out. There is a really good movie, honestly, in Sabotage somewhere. It just got a little lost with all the stuff it was trying to do. Like, it felt like the guys who wrote Sabotage, who I'm not familiar with, David Aver and can't think of the other fellow's name. They wrote it, and David Aver directed it. It felt like they had seen other like FBI movies before, and other undercover agent movies before, and they were trying to mimic those types of movies while also delivering like this profound action thriller. As a result, it got a little muddled with both, and it sort of became neither in a way. So Sabotage is about Arnold Schwarzenegger is the head of this little group of undercover agents. They infiltrate drug cartels undercover, and they go in and they bust them, they put them under arrest. However, Arnold Schwarzenegger's people tend to take money for themselves, millions of dollars for themselves. And one day, and during one of their setups, they lose the $10 million that they were trying to get. And then all of them come under investigation from the head mucky mucks. And after a while, the feds kind of drop the case because they're not getting anywhere with it, whatever. And then, one by one, people from Arnold Schwarzenegger's crew start getting killed off in these somewhat gruesome ways. I'm trying really hard to not give away anything because the movie did keep me guessing to some extent. I wasn't sure whether Arnold Schwarzenegger's character was a good guy or a bad guy. I didn't know which of the characters you could trust, which ones you couldn't trust. And on those levels, the movie does work. I mean, and to be perfectly honest, the movie does work in many respects. And I kind of enjoyed myself when I was watching it. But it doesn't hold up. Even when I was leaving the theater, I was thinking, what did I just watch? What just happened? It seems like it's one of those movies that just kind of, it's gone. Yeah, I saw it. I enjoyed myself while I was watching it, but there's nothing that really holds up about it. The performances were fine. Actually, Arnold Schwarzenegger gives, in my opinion, one of his best performances I've seen. And you can't really count Terminator because he's just a robot and he plays a robot in that movie. But in this one, you couldn't tell, and in a good way. You couldn't tell whether he was a good guy or a bad guy. He seemed menacing. He was threatening in spite of his old age. But that makes sense since he's muscular and beefy as all get out. But he gives a pretty solid performance. A lot of the people in this movie give pretty solid performances. Olivia Williams co-stars as a DEA agent who's trying to figure out why Arnold Schwarzenegger's old crew are getting killed off. She does fine. She plays a part. Can't really have anything negative to say about her performance. She gives what she's supposed to give. She doesn't. A lot of people did in this movie. Actually, there was one girl who's really prominent in the trailers, the redhead. Oh my god, her name is escaping me, and I feel so bad. But she gives the best performance, in my opinion, in the whole movie, up to a point. She plays like this chick who's kind of wacko, and you can tell she's having fun with her performance. She's giving it everything. She's like one of the guys. She's a little, what's the word? I'm sorry, it's a little late, and I'm really tired. It's after midnight. The movie just got out. But she does give a lot to her performance, and her character is a pretty unique one. Yeah, I haven't really seen too many. Usually whenever you see a female cop or even a female undercover cop in a movie, they're always like these really strong, like Olivia Williams was exactly this. Just a very strong, character. Doesn't really go outside of the box. Jodie Foster's character in Silence of the Lambs is pretty much this, in a nutshell. Where they're essentially good guys, who are kind of uppity, kind of like the boss lady, like the generic boss lady. She wasn't that. She was one of the guys. She was hanging out, she had a potty mouth. She was doing drugs and she had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching her character. Watching her and watching Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie were the best two parts of the movie. Because they had fun with it. You could tell that they were having a good time. And just because Arnold Schwarzenegger was really serious this whole movie, that doesn't mean he's not having a good time. You can tell that he is enjoying this character. He's playing it up. And I enjoyed that. But the movie just doesn't hold anything story-wise, because and like I said, you can tell that there was a good movie in here. It just got lost in the story where it becomes very predictable as the movie wears on. You just figure out where everything's going. And they don't really build up any kind of suspense to anything either. And it's kind of depressing because I was enjoying it, especially in the first, like, I would say it was that midway point on the mark when I stopped really liking this movie. Because it's well shot, it's pretty intense, it's got some intense scenes in it, it's got a lot of fun gore in it, that's always a good time. But there was, and I can pinpoint the exact moment, the exact scene. It's a scene in which Olivia Williams, a female cop, for no reason is in a pool naked. But you don't see a whole lot. But she's naked in a pool, and Arnold Schwarzenegger comes up to her, and then they go into her house, and he starts seducing her just out of nowhere. It's like all of a sudden they're kind of having a romance. Sort of. It's just... And it fascinates me because I've always wanted to pinpoint the point in the movies when I start realizing it's a bad movie. It's that scene. That is the scene when I realize it's a bad movie. It's the Olivia Williams drunken sex scene. Or drunk skinny dipping scene. That's what I should call it. I should call it the Olivia Williams drunk skinny dipping scene. Is the point in the movie when I start realizing it's not a good movie anymore. And it's a little depressing because, like I said, I was invested for the most part, but it lost me. And honestly, I don't even know how much I should say that I was invested in the characters, because apart from Schwarzenegger's character, the rest, they got started as good characters, but it's like a science project where you can tell they had this great idea and they were starting some great things, and then they just didn't follow through with anything. They just become archetypes and stereotypes. They just become the drunken or the frat assholes that you always see in these movies. It just loses steam. Not that the movie itself loses steam, because there's plenty of action in it and everything, and it does keep you interested for the most part until you figure out who the killers are. You are interested in knowing who they are. They gave it away too soon too. That's something else. Again, I don't want to give away anything, but they give away who the killers are entirely too early. Because a lot of what made the first part of the movie interesting was that you weren't sure who the good guys were and who the bad guys were. But after the Olivia Williams drunken skinny dipping scene, it suddenly became very apparent who the good guys were and who the bad guys were. And that's a shame, because I was liking not knowing. I was enjoying being in the dark. Although you are in the dark for the rest of the movie, for the most part, about Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. Like, it's not until close to the very end that you figure out what his character's all about. So it did have that going for it. There weren't a whole lot of people in the theater for me to gauge the reaction on. There were a couple of jokes in the movie. It's not like a half comedy or anything. There were like 2 jokes in the movie, and they both actually worked, surprisingly. And the people in the theater with me laughed pretty hard at them. So, I mean, not like ironically, like they laughed genuinely at them. So I guess that the people I was watching it with had a good time. But there were only like 3 people in the theater besides me, and I came in late. There were like 2 people sitting in the back and 1 other person, and that was it. So I guess the movie's not going to do that well at the box office. I'm guessing. I don't know. Like, I also got a late showing of it, so who knows? Maybe it'll become a hit. If you want to see it, I'm sure you'll have a good time. It's fine. on some levels, it's passable. It is well shot, like I said. Like the cinematography is pretty nice. That some scenes can be kind of intense, but the movie just starts caving in on itself. It just doesn't have the plot or the character structure to support itself, or the story. There's just not enough of a twist in there. There's not enough of a dramatic shift in tension or anything. It just kind of flatlines after a point. But that being said, if you go see it, you probably won't have a bad time unless this isn't your type of movie. I mean, if you're gonna see a movie like Sabotage, you're gonna see a movie like Sabotage regardless. And to those people, go for it. But if you're not sure whether or not to see it, or if that kind of movie doesn't usually really interest you, like you're not always Netflixing movies like Sabotage, you can skip it. You're not going to miss anything except maybe a really interesting Arnold Schwarzenegger performance. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about the movie even. There's just not a whole lot to it. It's got some good action scenes. It's nice and gory in some places. It's got a hard R rating, so if you're thinking like this is a movie you can bring your 15, 14-year-old nephew to, I wouldn't. But it's, I don't know. It just loses you after a while. Not really worth it. I wouldn't recommend it. So that's Sabotage. So, yep. That's it. Alright. I hope to see you guys next time. I'll see you at the movies.